to all of you out there. And is it just me, or is it a little cold? Wrap up warm, because we're off to the South Pole for an adventure featuring the very first appearance of classic Who foes, the Cybermen, as we discuss the first Doctor story, The 10th Planet. I'm DK, you're sometimes guest, sometimes host on these things, but fear not, regular host Mike is still with us. He's just taking a back seat for this one. Well, I say back seat, but no doubt I'll be doing enough talking for the both of us. Isn't that right, fella?
No, I'm going to collapse about three quarters of the way through and just disappear.
Isn't that what you normally do once you start disconnected?
I'm going to make you host. Oh no, Mike, you're not well. Quick, lie down.
Yeah, I'll be Ben and try and kill everyone. So, yeah, how are you doing today, buddy?
I'm okay. Yeah, looking forward to getting back into it. This is the first time back for a while, the first of the big Cybermen series. So, looking forward to getting chatting and to talking to our guests that are both new to the podcast as well.
Yeah, you looking forward to this season?
Oh, definitely. I love the Cybermen. You know me.
Yeah.
Not in a weird way.
Yeah. Well, you will be like us. So, yeah, Mike and I, as he's just alluded to, aren't alone for this one. We've also got two new guests on the show with us today. Although I do believe Mike has been a guest on their show. It's Stephen and Lynn from the Adventures in Time and Space podcast. Welcome.
Hello.
Thank you.
And how are you guys today?
Ladies first.
Oh, go on, darling. You go first.
Oh, thanks, Mum. Right. Yeah, I'm not too bad. Yeah, it's good to get out there and get on someone else's podcast and have a bit of a chat about Doctor Who. So yeah, I'm ready to go.
Nice one, Lynn.
Yeah, wrapped up nice and warm because I'm freezing my arse off down here. But yeah, apart from that, ready to go for a bit of Hovey and stuff. So yeah.
As I said, well, it's your first time around here with us. You do have your own show. Would you like to tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, yeah, it's one of the official podcast shows.
Oh, Stephen's plugging.
I'll plug away. Thank you very much. Yeah, Adventures in Time and Space is our Doctor Who podcast. We reviewed Doctor Who from 63 to present, kind of going through seasons and whatnot. So we're in the middle of season 3 of Classic Who, season 3 of New Who. In a minute, we just had Michael on just before Christmas, or just about Christmas time, for the Doctor Who Peter Cushing movie, with the Daleks. So we had that. We've also got a few other podcasts. We've got a film podcast, You Can't Handle a Review, and we've got Gene Genie Reviews, which is Life on Mars and Ash to Ashes podcast. So we get about. Lynn's on the Doctor Who podcast, and she comes with all the knowledge.
So yeah, what was Mike like as a guest? Feel free to spill the tea. Anything embarrassing is always welcome here.
Yes, he was a good guest on the show. We also did the Doctor Who magazine quiz for 2025, which is a mammoth task in itself, because they never make it easy. So yeah, that's gonna be fun when we get back to kind of see all the answers and stuff and see how we did. I think we did all right. It was quite good having Michael there because he kind of knows some of the answers as well, and Lynn and a few other people. But if you're not like a massive Classic Who fan, you kind of get a bit lost in the amount of questions that you get. Lynn could probably tell you a lot more about Michael than I could, to be honest.
Not really. It's not like I hang out with her on the side when I'm not podcasting. But yes, we know each other from Iceland as well as the podcast.
On the side.
Well, we are voice actors, so that's how we know each other. So actors, yes.
Yes, queen.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're going to have a little thespian club going.
Oh, we could do our own Doctor Who.
So I'm going to ask you a little more, if I may. So, assuming Mike puts the header up when he edits this thing, we'll head into our next segment, which is Into the Vortex. We always ask our new guests a couple of related questions, just so we can get into your mindset for the show. So, both Lynn and Stephen, I'm going to throw this one at you. What was your first ever Doctor Who story?
Ladies first. Go, Mama.
Ah, you would say that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
First one that I clearly remember and being really, really, really scared of is The Curse of Fenric with Sylvester McCoy and the Sea Vampires. And
Nice.
the minister kind of throwing the Bible up in the air, and then he's just, and then you just see them kind of coming out of the sea. I never slept for days after that. But that's one clear story that I remember. My husband's more a Sylvester McCoy fan than myself. I'm much earlier than that. But yeah, for a recent story, I would think our youngest watched the animated Power of the Daleks, and she's a Dalek fan anyway.
All right.
So yeah.
So you're introducing the next generation, yeah?
Oh yes, we're introducing her to a lot more of the classic Doctor Who now, and she's really interested.
Oh, parenting done right. So was that the one? Was Curse of Fenric the one that made you a fan, or did you come back later?
I kind of dipped in and out of it. I never stopped being a fan, but obviously there was the lull, obviously between Sylvester McCoy and Eccleston. But yeah, I've always been a fan of sci-fi. If it's not been Doctor Who, it's been something else. If it's not been Babylon 5, it's been something else taking its place. The Expanse is an amazing show. Anyone who hasn't seen it, please do. So yeah, there's always a bit of sci-fi rattling around in this house.
Cool.
If it's not sci-fi, if it's Japanese anime or Transformers or He-Man or God knows what. So yeah,
It's like a checklist of all of our favorite things.
I know. I was just going to say it's just like it was nice to meet a fellow Babylon 5 fan, and then she dropped the He-Man, and I was just like, why haven't you had her on as a guest before, dude? So yeah, what about you, Stephen? What was your first story when it comes to Who?
So I grew up in the 90s. In the wilderness years. So my grandparents had a lot of sort of Doctor Who VHSs, mainly Pertwee. So I kind of remember reading them and watching a lot of, Doctor Who and the Silurians, like the Autons, the Green Death was a major memory from when I was younger. So those were like some of the first sort of Doctor Who sort of stories that I watched.
Cool. And were you hooked from the beginning?
I was definitely interested. I watched the Dalek movies as well when I was younger because they were on the telly as well. So I was a massive fan of the Daleks. I made Daleks out of tin cans and bits of cardboard and stuff like that. As an excited child. So yeah, it wasn't a massive part of my life until it came back in 2005, where I watched Rose. Like, it was the last 10 minutes or so. I just caught the very end of it. And I was like, oh, right, I'll watch the next episode. And so it's the end of the world. I was like, oh, okay. But things happened, and, I didn't get back to it until it was Boomtown. And then I stuck with it after Boomtown right the way through. So until we get to about Jodie's era, and then I kind of left the show a little bit. And then I started up the podcast, so I've been kind of stuck with the 60th onwards. So, yeah.
Cool. Nice one. So I'm going to ask you both, what is your favourite story, both classic and modern, and why? I'll come to you first on this again, Lynn.
Ooh, for classic. Personally, for me, the Highlanders, because
What
of
a
who's
choice.
Oh yes, Stephen knows what's coming because.
Here we go.
Oh, don't you start, Boyle. I'm a Troughton girl through and through.
Okay.
I'm Troughton for classic era, and as much as it rankles my other fellow podcasters, very much of Scottish Doctors and Jodie Whittaker.
Nice.
So we are big fans of the 13th Doctor here, despite what my other companions might have voiced previously. And yes, I have a soft spot for the Highlanders. But yeah, I have a soft spot for the 10th Planet and the Power of the Daleks as well. Because that's kind of like the crossover. That's where you kind of see what happens with each regeneration now. Yeah, you are talking possibly. I mean, we are covering Highlanders at some point this year as well. So yeah, you are talking about within the first two Doctors. But I wouldn't say there's an absolute standout favourite.
Fair enough. And any modern stories that you really got a soft spot for?
Hellbent and Heaven Sent.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah, very popular.
What is it about those in particular?
I think it's because Peter Capaldi is just one of those actors. He was the president of the Doctor Who fan club. He's got pictures with Elizabeth Sladen, John Pertwee. He's just a classic Doctor, but he's also modern. But he's also a very gifted theatre actor. And my God, he's amazing, Malcolm Tucker. So, it's the fact that Tom Baker wanted to do a story like this, but I don't think Tom Baker could have pulled it off as well as Capaldi did. And it's very much a theatre piece set in TV. And it's just quality. It's just quality. That's all you can say about it.
Yeah, you got getting arguments from me on that one.
Yeah, and it's also very heartbreaking at the same time. So, it's a little bit out there. But it's definitely up near the top of my list. That's near my favourite.
Nice. And what about you, Stephen? Favourite classic?
Classic. Anything from season 7. I think season 7 is a fantastic season of Doctor Who. Maybe Inferno. Inferno's like a really great story. For John Pertwee. Genesis of the Daleks was a personal favourite for myself. I was a massive fan of the Daleks and Davros. New Who. Midnight. I realised that, but I love Midnight because it was so it was in that one sort of bus, space bus, with that entity. We didn't really know what it was. And it was like the Doctor was almost about to be finished off. It was like it eventually won at that point. So it's really great storytelling in that episode. Amy's Choice is another one of my favourites. The Girl Who Waited is another good one. The God Complex, I think, is another pretty good one as well. Yeah.
Just like Series 6 then.
Yeah, some of Series 6 is alright. Like, some of it was alright.
Again, got to ask you both, do you have a favourite Cyberman story? Obviously, we're talking about in this season, but what are your favourites?
Lynn, do you have one right away or not?
I like them all.
Oh, nice.
I like them all. I think, for me, the Cyberwoman
God.
in Torchwood. No, I think that's.
Oh, we are
really,
covering
really-
that this season.
Oh,
Yeah, I
Jesus.
know you are. But the thing is, it's an interesting story because she's a remnant. So it's a case
Also makes
of
no sense. I'm sorry, it makes no sense. Like, why is she still half human then? Like, they chop out your
Yeah.
brain, right?
The thing
Why is
is-
she still half human in a sexy
yeah, it's the
outfit?
fact that you have to question why there was kind of, one left over, or why he decided to do that. And I don't know, pair of love. He wanted to save her. He thinks that he can convert a cyber part, But I just think that's a little bit of an interesting kind of off tangent story. But I mean, who doesn't love a good Cyberman? I mean, sorry, but
Definitely have a
just
cyber
make
woman,
sure
yeah.
you've got some gold on
Especially
you.
if they come like that, you know.
Heavy metal
Cybermen,
couple.
Cybermen stories. Cyberman and Cyberwoman coming to you in 2027. Yeah. The 10th Planet's always a good one because it's one of the first introduced. I'm trying to think. New Who, I think, the first story they came back in, like, the Rise of the Cybermen, Age of Steel, I think they were done really well. And then it kind of descends into Cybermen just being Cybermen, and they're not done as well as you go into the series of New Who. Trying to think of the Cybermen stories, to be honest. Yeah, Doomsday, which was not too bad. Christmas, the next Doctor was meh. We had a massive Cyber King in the middle of Victorian England, which was a bit what's going on here. And then when do we next see them again?
After the next Doctor, well, there's briefly the Pandorica opens, the one without an arm that attracts them, I guess.
Oh
Other
yeah,
than
that was not too bad, I suppose. But you had to get them in somewhere, didn't you? Is it not like Nightmare in Silver at that point?
Yeah.
Closing time, I think, comes up before that. But
Oh my God, there were some terrible ones.
Oh, closing time. Oh my God. But the power of love. Defeat the Cybermen. Yeah, it kind of descends into Iron Man territory. They look like Iron Men by Nightmare in Silver. They just kind of lose the concept of what the Cybermen were good at. I think The World Enough in Time and Dr. Falls was pretty good. You get the creepy factor back when, where they're kind of part human, part Cybermen, cybernetics, and they're going like, they're all in pain and they're helping, and they want to ask for help and stuff. And I think that's quite cool. But and in terms of Jodie Whittaker's era, I can't really say because I haven't really watched a lot of it. So, meh. Classic is, hit or miss as well, really, isn't it? The Moon Base is pretty good. Invasion's one of my favourites. Revenge of the Cybermen, Earthshock's pretty good. So yeah, it's kind of hit or miss as you go along, really, isn't it?
How appropriate.
Fair enough. Yeah. Well, now we know what sort of makes you guys tick. We're going to delve deeper into likes and dislikes, not only of you, but we're also going to pick the brains of myself and my co-host Mike here as we head into our regular hit or miss section.
How I hate these hit or miss performances.
So Mike, if you want to hit the buttons and let's see what we can see, I'm handing it over to you.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm taking the reins on this one just because I'm kind of used to it. So yeah, if you are new to the podcast, or you just you're trying it out for the first time, this is the section that gives the podcast its name, where I basically pick random things from anywhere in the Doctor Who universe and ask if they're a hit or a miss. We debate back and forth, to try to come to a consensus if we can. And lately, what I've been doing is, rather than just, coming up with things myself, I've been putting a big list together and then asking us to pick, almost lottery style, pick random numbers and seeing what we hit on and asking what we think of that thing. And I will say, because obviously this is the Cyberman themed series, there will be a fair chunk of Cyberman stuff amongst it. Not entirely stuff, because I don't want it to just, take over the section. So if you hit Cyberman related stuff, that's why. But there will be some other random stuff in there still as well. So we all clear on the concept of the hit or miss thing?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I'll come to our guests first then. So I've actually got 14 things to choose from. We'll probably only cover about 4 or 5. But Stephen, did you want to pick a number first between 1 and 14?
Let's go 4.
4. 4 is not Cyberman related. So hit or miss for the Weeping Angels. And Stephen, it was your choice, so you can be the first one we come to. Hit or miss, and why?
Yeah, they were a hit to begin with, though. I think they're a good concept, though, for a villain if they're used correctly. Especially in Blink. Time of Angels, you could say, yeah, not too bad, but as the further they went on, questionable. But I would always say they're still a hit because they're still a fan favourite.
Yeah, cool. And what about you then, Lynn? What are your thoughts on the Weeping Angels? Hit or miss for you?
Oh, definite hit. I still can't convince my husband that Statue of Liberty coming to life and having vampire teeth is a good thing.
That was a bit much.
Yeah, it was a bit much.
Yeah, but I just kind of thought that's just so out there. That's just great. I'm with the theory that they're the souls of Time Lords that have passed, or it's a punishment for Time Lords that have crossed certain lines. And yeah, I wanted one for the top of a Christmas tree one year, and our eldest refused point blank to have a weeping angel.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, that's fair. You don't want to be creeped out by that one.
It's a weeping angel. It's not going to turn you to stone. It's not actually real. But no,
No,
that's
they look
how
so
scary
cute.
they are.
Let's put a Christmas hat on it.
Why
That's how
not?
they get you.
Some tinsel.
I should never have put this picture up, of course, because the image of an angel becomes an angel. I've just doomed the entire audience.
Yeah,
of the podcast.
you've killed us all, Mike.
Oh,
Thanks.
whatever.
Blink. Don't blink, everybody.
Just stare at your YouTubes, everyone.
I'm trying not to blink. It's so hard.
Oh, damn, my contacts are falling out. Oh.
Oh, fuck. Bye, Lynn.
So, I mean, that's all relatively positive so far. So what about you, DK? Hit or miss for the Weeping Angels?
I'm sorry, Sonny. I've just been transported back to the 60s. Yeah, I love them. I love it. I think obviously their first appearance was the standout for me. I think to some extent certain writers have kind of stretched the concept a little, so they're not as terrifying. But I still love them. And as is usual, I've got to give a shout out to a video game here. The Edge of Time VR game was the most terrifying thing I've ever played in my life because of these gits.
Screw that noise. Yeah, fair enough. So yeah, I mean, it's not going to be shocking to anybody that I think they're a hit as well. So it's going to be kind of boring. But yeah, I'm one of the rare people that finds Blink slightly overrated, but I think I like the Weeping Angels more and more as they go on. I loved the appearance in Flux in the Jodie season of the Weeping Angels. I thought that was really well done. Not necessarily a popular opinion, but. And yeah, I don't think they've got a bad episode amongst them. Even the ones that I think are slightly overrated are still, great, excellent episodes. And yeah, you can see why they became so popular and so kind of iconic as one of the, the closest thing we've got to like Daleks and Cybermen for the modern era. Something that really stuck in the memory. And yeah, they work really well. Even the kind of additions that Moffat adds, as I said, the image of an angel and. Having Amy having to keep her eyes closed because it's living in there or something, whatever it was. So it was all really cool, and it has nice horror movie vibes, which, as you know, always appeals to me, TK. So yeah, that's going to be a massive hit overall, I think, for the Weeping Angels. 4 out of 4, pretty good start. So yeah, Lynn, did you want to pick a number then between 1 and 14, except number 4 because that's gone?
Number 8.
Aha, number 8. Is a character and is Cyberman related. Hit or miss for the character of Tobias Vaughn. from the invasion. And Lynn, it's over to you because you picked this.
Oh, it's him. Oh, God, the creep. He's a miss for me.
Okay.
I think he's very, very smarmy. I know he's, trying to keep his power play, and he doesn't realize that he doesn't have any power. So yeah, you didn't use the brains you were born with. But yeah, very, very manipulative, trying to be charming but smarmy, and great character, great baddie. If you want a hit, but the character itself was a miss.
I see what you're saying. So, like within universe, kind of a miss, but an effective villain, so kind of a hit on that regard, I suppose. Okay, cool. DK, I'm going to spring to you next, then, just to mix it up. What do you think of Tobias Vaughan?
You threw me by surprise there, mate. He's a hit for me. He's genuinely one of the Doctor Who villains that you love to hate. He's and in that respect, he plays a villain well, and it's the arrogance of the man that I think more than anything just rankles me. I want to slap him silly whenever he opens his goddamn mouth. But yeah, I think he's a hit, and it was nice to see him again crop up in the New Adventures novels. So
I didn't know that either. Okay,
yeah, not Original Sin. I forgot it was the one that introduced Chris and Roz anyway.
Okay, I'm sure the audience will know.
Yeah, but I like him as a character. I think he's good, and it's always nice seeing him get the just desserts. So that's a hit from me.
Awesome, Stephen. Back to you then. What do you think of Tobias Vaughan?
He's a hit. He's one of the sort of the human characters that help the villains throughout the series, and he's probably one of the most notable ones that you can sort of recognize, from the invasion. But yeah, he's a bit of not a fantastic guy, but he gets his comeuppance, and good riddance.
Yeah. I just want to interrupt you. I've just looked it up. It was Original Sin, so my memory's done good.
Well, there you go. You shouldn't have doubted yourself.
Yeah.
Awesome. I think you recommended that to me once already, and I still haven't had a chance to look it up yet. But
but in all fairness, mate, I did recommend Long Barrow to you, and then you went, "My God, that was shit."
That wasn't Long Barrow. It was Long Barrow. I enjoy. I've read before. You recommended Infinity Doctors, which is fucking terrible.
Oh God, just run over here so I can slap you.
I'm running to Spain so you can slap me. But again, quite boring because I think Tobias Vaughan is a hit. I see what you're saying about he's a despicable character in universe and he's kind of detestable, but I think that makes a good villain. And like you said, it's quite satisfying when he does eventually get his comeuppance. And it's one of those things where whenever there's a human kind of siding with the Doctor Who iconic monsters like the Daleks and the Cybermen, they tend to get overshadowed. But I think he's one of the few that kind of holds his own and is equally iconic and memorable in that story. Which just as well because it's a long ass bloody story, but I think we're gonna just say hit overall again. I think for that, so we're 2 for 2 on major hits. Right, DK, over to you then. Pick a number between 1 and 14, please.
Gonna go number 5.
Number 5 is not Cybermen related, but it is a classic Who serial. And hit or miss, the image is coming for the Keys of Marinus. DK, again, you picked it, so you're first up. Hit or miss for that one?
I actually really enjoy this one, and if you believe, everything outside TV canon, they are kind of Cyberman related, thanks to Grant Morrison and DWM. I really enjoy this story. I mean, obviously, it was a bit of a failure because I believe they introduced the Void as, the next big thing, and it didn't turn out that way. But
they were all trying that. I mean, they tried that with frigging Quarks, thinking they were going to be the next election. They appeared once.
Yeah, that's moving on. It's Yeah, I like it, and I'm sorry to harp on the same thing. It gives me that kind of video game vibe, as in different levels, different sections, trying to get.
It is fetch quests, really, isn't it?
It is. It is. But I think some of them are quite. I think one of them in particular. I think it's the one with Barbara. It's really freaking creepy, and I respond to stuff like that, and just to see them all kind of split up out of their element kind of thing and seeing where it goes. And there's quite a lot of variety there. And I know it's not an incredibly popular one, but I've always really enjoyed it when it comes to rewatches. So yeah, it's a hit for me, this.
Awesome. Lynn, I'm going to come to you next. What did you think of the Keys of Marinus, hit or miss?
I like the Keys of Marinus.
Okay.
I love William Hartnell. I really have I have a huge soft spot for the stories, and I think it's the fact that they have to work as a team but work separate. And yes, there are elements that are bordering on horror, psychological, jump scares, things like that. So yeah, it's a good story, and it's a hit for me.
Awesome. Stephen, it's over to you then. Hit or miss for Keys of Marinus? So you're going to keep the hits going?
Oh, pressure. Yeah, I would say it's a hit. I mean, yeah, it's one of the very few Terror Nation stories that we have that's not a Dalek story. But, he was kind of trying to do something different, kind of invent like a new major monster of the Void, but it didn't really work out. It was just basically guys walking around in, just silly costumes, to be honest.
You just described the entire history of Doctor Who.
Yeah, sometimes it's a lot more easier to believe it's a monster rather than just somebody walking around in a costume. It's different places that they go to, and there's different adventures, and there's a court case, and there's that weird dude that wants to get in with Barbara. There's that awkward moment. I think it's episode 4 or something when he's like shutting her in. Yeah, there's that weird dude. It's not a bad wee story, to be honest. So I'd say it's a hit.
Awesome. Again, this is going to be really boring for the audience, but I think it's a hit as well. I think I like how varied it is. That you have these various different adventures, and the one that sticks in my mind, and I really hope I'm right that it's this episode because I'm going to look foolish if it's not, is the morpho brain people they encounter. It's just so weird and random, and that was something that it captured my imagination when I first saw this. But I just like they've got their own, as you said, little fetch quest type stuff, and then it all comes together, and it's kind of almost like a precursor to things like the Key to Time, except obviously it's only in one story, but they all do their own thing in that same way. And yes, shout out to, I think it's called The World Shapers, the Grant Morrison comic, which does claim that the Void became the Cybermen, in which Stephen Moffat made kind of canon by referencing in the Dr. Falls. So yeah, they are kind of Cybermen related, which is, at least the Void did something. There wasn't much else going on. So yeah, I mean, that's what are we, 3 for 3 now on major hits? So we'll do one last one then, and go on then, DK. Since you're the host, I'll let you pick another that we can do today and ask everyone about. Number between 1 and 14, but not 4, 5, or 8.
I'll go outside the top 10. I'll go for number 12 this time.
Number 12. That is very fitting. Number 12 is Cyberman related, and hit or miss, again, don't worry, the image will be coming, for the Cybus Industries Cybermen, aka the ones that debuted in Rise of the Cybermen. And again, DK, you picked this, so... that was a deep breath.
Yeah, when you look at we're looking at the Cybermen, not the story.
Yeah, we're talking about the design of the Cybermen themselves as opposed to the stories they're in. But yeah.
They're a bit too clanky for me, and because of that, they lose that, I think, creepiness factor that you see in certainly classic era Cyberman stories. Not counting Revenge of the Cybermen in the Silver Flares, but it's got they're a bit, I don't know. I kind of liked him. It was nice to see Cybermen turn up again. I just wish, I don't know. As I say, I just wish they weren't clanky. Yes, they come off as a threat, but they come off as a threat more in a muscle kind of way, where I think part of the creepiness of the earlier Cybermen were you could see that human element to them. So for that reason, it's a hit, but it's just over the line.
Very, very soft hit in your case.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Yeah.
I'll jump in and give you my thoughts on this. I think they are a hit, but with again kind of caveats to that. Like you, I love the design. I think as much as I like the classic Cybermen, they were quite obviously people in sparkly jumpsuits a lot of the time with tubing and golf balls occasionally attached to them. And this was the first time that I was like, it actually felt like metal, like tin. That was. That made it more intimidating. But I have to say, I don't like Russell T Davies' idea of, it's actually is just a completely tin suit we've just put a human brain into. I prefer the more, any Trekkies will know, the more Borg-like concept of a human body with cyber's bits all over. And to be fair, they kind of seem to have abandoned that as soon as RTD was gone. Because like I mentioned earlier, in the Pandorica opens, you have like the one that opens its helmet and a skull falls out. So presumably at some point they just went back to traditional methods of no, there's a human in there. It's not just a brain. And I think I prefer that idea, which is kind of how I...
Maybe it was cost cutting. They were trying to save on circuit boards or something.
Perhaps. But yeah, I mean, I like the design overall, but I would prefer it if it was a question of there's actually a person in there, or more biological material than just a brain, at least. But yeah, the design itself, I really like. I think it's a fantastic update for the modern era, and it looks really cool. It's clearly a Cyberman. And yeah, you can see there's some production value. So again, very soft hit for me.
Oh God! Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I was in London at one point with my mate Paul. Rest in peace, Paul. And we were just at a pub. And seriously, we heard some clanking outside. We went outside. We both got a pint in hand. It was our first pint, but you know that thing in films where you do your double take and then the person looks at the drink?
Yeah.
We did that because there were two fucking Cybermen walking down the street, this design. And they were obviously on their way to some kind of event or promotion or something like that. But it's just weird to be dragged out of the pub to see two Cybermen walking down the street. I was just like, how long were we in there?
What's going on? Oh, shit.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No, that's cool. I mean, like I said, because this was the first modern era one, I think it's got a special place. And I did see the suits themselves at the exhibition when it came to the Centre for Life in Newcastle. There wasn't anybody in it. It wasn't that advanced, but you could see the actual armor behind like a little case and everything. And it looks pretty cool. So yeah. Anyway, Stephen, over to you next. What do you think of the Cybersmen?
Early 2000s. This is very nostalgic for me. This is when the Cybermen came back, obviously, into the new show. So, yeah, I'd say it's a hit. I'd imagine when they were doing the Classic Who, they kind of wanted to aim for this, but obviously the budget never allowed them to go this far to kind of create this. So, I think this is the sort of the aim that they wanted to go for. But obviously with a modern budget, they're able to do that. So, yeah. I'd say it's a hit.
Awesome. And what about you, Lynn, then?
I like the design. However, one thing kept flashing through my head. If you were to do a metal version of a Transformer and put a human inside.
Okay. Well, they did kind of do that in Transformers with that weird suit that little Spike wears that turns into a car.
Yeah, but the thing is, I like the design, but I'm with DK on this one. It's far too bulky. It's when they reintroduced it for Modern Who, I think they wanted to show that it's not about the way that they thought when they were planning. I think they wanted to entirely upgrade it to show how strong they were. They were metal machines. This is what you're going to turn into. This is an evolution. it doesn't matter at any point during Doctor Who, there will be a version of a Cyberman because people are always mucking around with cybernetics. People get limbs built. So you're always going to have Cybermen at some point. They're never going to go fully away, and you will develop at some point in the future wherever humanity has to go. So if you base that in the storyline, I think it's a little bit too clunky for me. But don't get me wrong, it's a beautiful style. It's very sleek, very modern. Maybe I'm more old-fashioned with World Enough and Time, going back to the old style of the Cybermen. But that's just me.
No, fair
So
enough. I mean, I like the Art Deco thing, but
yeah.
So would you say hit or miss overall? Put
Do you know what? I'm going to go for a miss, but it's only marginal.
Yeah, well, that's fair enough. We're the same. I think we're very close with hits as well. So, I mean, overall, that would still be a hit, but again, it's probably the closest to a miss we've had for this particular episode. So, hit, but kind of on the fence-ish. So that's fine. Right, that'll probably conclude us. I think we've done 4 things there. That'll probably be enough, and we can get into the bulk of the episode. So, DK, I'm going to hand it back over to you for the main review.
Nice one. In the words of David Banks, excellent.
Excellent.
Yeah. So now we're going to head over to the poll for today's story of choice, which is, of course, 10th Planet, and so we're going to activate the time-space visualizer and give it just a couple of behind-the-scenes facts before we get into the discussion itself.
That meant that you could just tune in and see any event in history.
Yes, that's exactly what this is.
No. The first one is obviously, everybody and their dog knows at this point that not only was this the first appearance of the Cybermen, courtesy of Kit Pedler, but it was also the very first regeneration story, where the origins of the Cybermen. This was Kit Pedler thinking about spare part surgery and just where this would go if left unchecked. William Hartnell was absent, as we've mentioned, from the 3rd episode of the 10th Planet because he was reportedly suffering from bronchitis and was too unwell to work during the recording week. His absence necessitated a last-minute script rewrite, which explained the character's reduced role by having the Doctor collapse. Hartnell's worsening health issues that led to his leaving the show, although his absence in the 3rd episode was unplanned. So as a result, most of those lines were given to Michael Craze as Ben. Michael Craze found working in Fake Snow difficult. He'd just undergone surgery to remove a bone chip from his nose, during which he suffered a burst blood vessel, which nearly cost him his life. And the Jabalite snow blown around the film stage irritated his nose badly. Weirdly enough, one of those throwing some of this snow threw it in his face as a practical joke, inadvertently aggravating said injury, was production assistant Edwina Werner, who eventually became Michael's future wife.
Nice.
Now, episode 4 is obviously missing. It is considered one of the top 10 missing items from the BBC archive, along with the Apollo 11 landing, though we do have the episode animated of Doctor Who, not the Apollo 11 landing. That would be a bit strange. The regeneration itself survives only because the clip was shown on a Blue Peter episode, which ended up surviving the BBC archive purge. Now, Earl Cameron plays Williams, a black astronaut, which was considered quite revolutionary at the time for the BBC. His uniform will no doubt be familiar to many of you, as it is what will eventually become the Bounty Hunter Bosk's outfit in The Empire Strikes Back. So yeah, that's what I have at the moment. I'm sure we'll have more come up from everyone as we progress, but yeah, it's now time to begin analysis on the episode itself. So we'll begin by looking at the writing. But before we do, I just want to have to ask, when was the first time that you saw this? I mean, I was waiting for this for a good long while because I'd heard so much about it, and when it was finally released, I don't know if I built it up too much in my mind, but I was kind of underwhelmed. But yeah, what were your first times? I'm going to come to you first on this one, Mike. When were your first time watching this?
Oof, that's a poor choice because I don't really have a particularly fun story. I can't even really remember. I know that it definitely wasn't the first Cyberman story that I ever saw because that would have been Earthshock. But I actually mentioned when I was on Stephen's and Lynn's podcast that when I started getting into New Who, I decided to go back and try and watch the classic ones. And the first thing I did was, I'll do the Dalek and the Cybermen stories because I know I like them already and I like the concepts. So I'm sure it was probably one of the first classic ones that I did see. And it would have been by either renting or buying the DVD, but I cannot remember exactly. I just know it wasn't the first one. But other than that, I couldn't tell you, unfortunately.
Fair enough. What about you, Lynn?
I remember watching this quite a while back, actually. Quite a while back. And I do remember it. My husband hadn't watched it all the way through, but I had with the animation. And whoever's got that last episode, get it the hell back to the BBC. We want it back.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say. Whoever's got it tucked away, give it back to the BBC because I want to see that regeneration scene.
All right, I'll get it back to BBC soon. Sorry.
So yeah, what about you, Steve?
I mean, I must have seen it about 10 years ago or so when like the DVD came out, and I just bought it because I knew it was like the first Doctor's last story. First Cybermen. It was really hyped up at the time. The last episode's been animated, So, I bought it and I watched it and I was like, right, okay.
It made a huge impression, clearly. Sorry.
So the animation was pretty good, I have to say. It kind of kept in with what it was probably like when you were watching it in the 60s, but the overall story was not too bad. It could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, could have been time lash.
Yeah.
We'll start this off with getting into the writing, and written by Kit Pedler. So, what's everybody's thoughts on the story itself? And I'm going to come to you first again, Mike, because I know you told me you've got quite a few notes on this.
Well, bits and pieces, but it was Kit Pedler and Jerry Davis, by the way. It was Kit Pedler who wrote, I think, a couple of the episodes, and Jerry Davis who jumped in for a couple because he was the script editor or something at the time. Yeah. So it's credited to both of them, as is the creation of the Cybermen, because it's both writing in the story. So, I mean, it's an interesting one because the story is kind of outlandish and sci-fi-ish, but that's, I think, what I love about it, because if you actually stop and think about it, it's kind of, it's very old school Flash Gordon serial, the idea of like, there was once a twin planet to Earth that just got knocked out of orbit and went away, and now it's coming back out of nowhere and just appearing in our solar system. By the way, R.I.P. Pluto being the 9th planet, so this episode title doesn't make any sense anymore. But thanks for that, astronomers. So now we should probably call it the 9th planet, but we won't. I mean, it was 1986, so at that point it still fits. But anyway, I like the kind of the idea being, an alternate. Obviously, they kind of ran with a similar idea when the Cybermen did come back in New Who. The idea that it was a parallel Earth, and this is the potential future of the human race if you're not careful. I love that concept. The Cybermen as an idea, like I said, I really just love, and I think they arrive, saying everything that you need to with these characters and with this kind of menace, as it were. The space rockets in danger type stuff is kind of superfluous, I guess. You don't need it, but I don't mind it, and it doesn't take up too much time. And at least you get a chance to give stakes to the gradually increasingly insane general character when it's his son that's kind of up there and stuff. So and it was a chance to be a bit forward thinking and have a black character be in a position of power, which is nice. And what else can you say about it? It's I think somebody might say this in the audience feedback, or somebody might have said it to me in person, that it's kind of a sort of soft pilot for what will become the base under siege format an awful lot in future, especially in the Troughton era. And yeah, that absolutely is. I mean, that's one of the potential limitations, but I also think it works because the claustrophobia is the point. You're trapped. It's minus 10 degrees or whatever outside in the snow, and can't really go out there. You're stuck in this base. You're being attacked by these cybernetic creatures, and sadly, unfortunately, the stakes seem a bit lower when Hartnell takes off and has a nap for an episode, but can't be helped. So yeah, these are my general thoughts anyway on the writing.
Cool. What about you, Stephen?
Well, considering it's like a full part of the writing was not too bad actually, because it actually kept my attention. So in the long run, it was pretty good. The Doctor goes for a nap. After his night out the night before, he was a bit tired, so he had to go for a lie down. The Cybermen are a great villain that came out of fantastic ideas about if we go into the future, how much more can we, add to the human body with technology. So yeah, they're a really creepy villain, and it kind of comes down, like you said, into like a base under siege kind of archetype, which kind of goes forward into the Troughton era. But for the writing, yeah, I mean, the writing was pretty good for what it was. You had to write out the Doctor. You introduced a new villain, which they've been trying to do for 3 years at this point to rival the Daleks, which thankfully they did. So yeah, I mean, yeah.
Fair enough. Lynn?
I like the overall story. I think you get direct evidence of the kind of precedence that it sets for future stories, as in the Moon Base, which I believe is also another Cyberman story with Patrick Troughton.
The next Cyberman story after this, actually.
Yeah, so it's very, very reminiscent of that. So obviously, I kind of jotted things down. And one thing that I did note alongside my very Hovian husband is that it's very Jerry Anderson as well, especially when you see them in the rockets.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. And, oh God, what did I write? Makeshift chairs with soft foam pins and duct tape. I had to laugh at them in the rocket. I just thought it's just DIY chairs. I had to. I just thought, it's a decent story. It's an invasion. You're trying to stop the invasion. They want to take all the energy out of the planet. They've got enough energy. They want to destroy Earth. They want to take the place of Earth because it's a twin planet. I mean, how many times has Earth been threatened to be blown up? So it's just like a staple of a science fiction. So yeah. It's a very, very fun story in parts, especially when you have the characters interacting. You got the serious part where you have the invasion. You see them very emotionless, which is kind of scary in itself. If I had to call it a word, I'd call it quaint because of, I mean, it is quaint. It is off its time. It is the 60s.
Yeah,
I did make a note of that, by the way, when we were talking about like how effective the Cybermen's emotionlessness is. And I think one of the very first things they come out with is when Polly's like, "Don't you care?" And he's like, "Care? Why should we care?" I was like, Jesus, a Tory politician turned up.
the main thing that throws me on this episode these days is the Hartnell going, "Have you no emotions, sir?" And it just reminds me of that meme.
What meme? I've never seen
Have
this.
you
I
not
don't think.
seen it? Oh my god, it was
Yeah.
like widespread. It's usually used in when someone is being a misogynist online, or incel culture. Someone usually responds with that picture of Hartnell, and forgive the language here, but it just has Hartnell going, "Have you no bitches, sir?"
I have never seen that, but okay.
Yeah. I mean, we had this. Yeah, we had this discussion just prior to recording, and yeah, it might be controversial, but whether it's because I did build it up so much in my mind before I saw it, for a lot of the time, I end up coming away feeling like a Cyberman because it kind of leaves me cold. This story, in some respects.
Well, it is set in the South Pole, but
Oh, come on, you and your
He's
literal
going to
autism.
fill this, you know he is.
I don't know. It just, a lot of it feels. It's nice to see the Cybermen, but a lot of it feels superfluous to me. The entire rocket thing, as I said, it's. And Mike did point out, rightly so, that this is a lot of classic Doctor Who, but it did feel like the Ice Cube version of War of the Worlds, where they're just in one room and just saying, "Oh, look, this is happening. This is happening. Look," and yeah, go on, mate.
I will interject here and say I did note that when they say like, "Oh, there are hundreds of ships approaching, and the Cybermen are taking over the entire world," and I was like, and we see one in the existing sort of studio set of the command center. I was like, "Oh, this is world invasion, all of one Cyberman that's turned up that's not in the Arctic. How are we ever going to cope?"
Yeah, it just. I mean, I like the two astronauts. I just felt it was going to go somewhere more than it did. So by the time the General's son turned up and he's going up in a rocket, I just lost interest in that part of the plot line.
I think it's a kind of a casualty of the times though, because like you said, an awful lot of it just they don't have the effects to do much, so they have to try and sell you just the acting and with doing the thing you're never supposed to do, which is to, tell and not see. So there's an awful lot of like, "Oh my god, it's another planet. Oh wow, no, all of our controls are going crazy. Oh no, what's happening?" And you're like, "So show us."
Yeah. It's none of it. I mean, you are supposed to have this feeling of urgency, of tension all the way through, and it never materializes for me. I sit there and I can watch it and I can appreciate some of the acting and I can appreciate some of the story, and the Cybermen themselves, they creep me the hell out, and it's interesting to see it from the regeneration aspect. And it's nice to see one of the companions, even though it was, obviously unintentional, get a lot of proactive things to do, especially back then. Because I don't, I mean, you'd had Ian, you'd had Stephen, but I don't think Ben came across as particularly active. He was more of a passive. He was always more of a passive companion to me. So when he got Hartnell's lines for that, I did appreciate the kind of direction his character took. But the story itself, it just kind of happens to me. So it never. It's like, I mean, there's a little short story in one of I think it was one of the short trips releases back when BBC books started doing them, and it was basically Ben and Polly meeting up in 1986 to watch Mondas burn up in the sky, and there seems to be more emotion in like those 4 or 5 pages than there is in the entire, which I guess is kind of art considering it's a Cyberman thing, but I just couldn't, none of it kind of rings true to me. So but yeah, I mean, you mentioned the acting, Mike, so if nobody's got anything else that they want to say with regards to the writing, anybody?
I have some bits and pieces that I can jump in with if you want,
Yeah,
just
go
to
on.
keep us Just I like I said, I didn't particularly love the spaceship stuff, but I did like that it kind of got into an almost nuclear war allegory at the end with the whole Z bomb or Z bomb, or whatever they call it. So it's like, sooner or later we're going to have a weapon this big and this dumb that will just destroy us, and the Cybermen obviously wanting to co-opt that and destroy Earth, and then Mondas can take its place, kind of stuff. I picked that up as a kind of anti-nuclear missile kind of allegory anyway, and it would be apropos of the time. It would kind of make sense. And again, I like those third and fourth episodes a heck of a lot better than the first ones, because once they get into the actual meat of the plot, I think it really does pick up quite a lot. And like I say, when you're not focusing on the sort of the astronauts hanging out in space, telling you what they're seeing while you're not seeing it, I think it's a lot better. And you get a bit of pace, you get a bit of action going on. Everyone's doing something. I do think, though, that what you said about Ben is true, but I think you don't half notice that his character just completely flips when he's got to take the Doctor's dialogue. And as a result of that, he also has one scene that was really jarring where he just talks to himself, because it would obviously have been scripted as the Doctor talking to Ben, and he's just describing the plan like to himself in the middle of a room. And I'm just like, you couldn't have at least chucked one of the random background extras or something in the scene with him, so he just didn't come across quite so mad. but yeah, I mean, I love the whole Cybermen concept. I don't think you can underplay how big of a deal that was. This predates any of the kind of sci-fi cyborgs like the Cybernauts and the Borg and stuff that we might be used to. And it's fascinating. It's brilliant. You know what I mean? It arrives fully. We take it for granted because we've seen it 100 times, but it's such a brilliant concept, and that's the reason I think why it's still intrigues us today, and why we still have the Cybermen.
I think that I would find it a lot easier to digest had the final episode existed, because the bulk of the action involving the Cybermen is in that episode. And don't get me wrong, I think the animation in this is spot on. Brilliant. I think it's beautiful, but I think it just would have been so much better for me to see it actually happen, because they turn up, they go, you'll be like us, they get offed, and then another little gang turn up later on. It just would have been, but other than that, it's just the general chewing up the scenery as if he's gone to the William Shatner School of Acting, and I just would rather see more of that action in the storyline, if you know what I mean.
You're forgetting about the really cool scene where they all put on parkas because they're out in the cold and they're going to try and invade the base, and of course it works brilliantly, because it looks like your average person that's wearing a lamp on the top of his head.
Yeah. My God, that guy's deformed. Don't say anything. He's just another worker. Well, they'll have you up in HR.
Just picturing them trying to hide themselves in these big parkas as they shuffle in, and somebody in there just going, "Take it off, or you'll not feel benefit when you go outside." Tell you what, I like it when they're marching across the snow. I thought it looked really cool, though. It was kind of intimidating. I like it. Sorry, Lynn.
That actually is. I mean, I know I'm jumping ahead, but that is my favourite scene, because that always that's kind of burned into my memory. That it's very good. Yeah.
Oh God! This is the only Cyberman story that has given Cybermen names. From this point on, it's a cyber leader.
Yeah, that is always weird to me. They have a rank as well, don't they? The region or Regos Grail.
They're ranked from now on. This is the only story where they have names.
Couldn't be bothered to go into the future light, to be honest.
The original draft of this script for Regeneration did not include the Doctor's regeneration. Didn't include it. The original script, there was no changing of him into another actor. And that I just think that, for what we know, and this series is 60 years old now, at least, wow, what if that didn't happen? His original last line was, No, I simply will not give in. That got changed to, yes, thank you. That's good. Keep warm. Right? He's the only Doctor as well to have 2 lines of farewell, because in the Twice Upon a Christmas, this first Doctor, played by David Bradbury, says, "Well then, here we go the long way around." So he's the only Doctor that's got 2 lines for his regeneration.
Yeah, Moffat did change
And
that.
it's the
But
only
in fairness, I
time-
mean, "Stay warm" isn't really an iconic last line, is it?
No, but the thing is, 2017 Twice Upon a Christmas, that fills the gap.
It's a good story. Once
From
upon a time, I
when-
like it a lot.
Yeah, but that gap where he leaves Ben and Polly, that's when that adventure takes place.
I know.
So it fills
when that
the
happened,
gap.
and when I was rewatching 10th Planet, when he disappears and leaves them, I was like, "Oh, that's where Twice Upon a Time happens." And yeah, where he becomes briefly David Bradley. But yeah,
He wasn't.
I like that stuff. Face is all over the place. Sorry, apologies for the Scottish accent. I was trying to be Capaldi for a second.
So we'll get on to the acting now, and are there any standout performances? What do you think to the general acting in regards to this? I'm going to throw this open to anybody that wants to jump in.
I'll let our guests take it.
Lynn, you got anything?
Oh,
Massive notes.
I do. The captain's fun. The one in charge of the base. The CEO.
A very American guy.
Oh God, yeah. What does he say to the Doctor? The Doctor says, "I don't like your tone, sir," and he replies,
"I don't like your face
or your hair."
Your face is all over the place,
bitch.
Yeah, and it's like he's kind of talking down to the Doctor, and he's talking down to Ben, and Ben is kind of like, "Why you're Navy person? Why are you not with your ship?" It's a bit hard to explain. And he's talking down to Polly, and then it's what Hartnell comes out with. "Why don't you speak up? I'm deaf." You know, I'm sorry, but the guy's an arsehole. I mean, I know he's probably running somewhere. He's freezing his arse off. He's stuck there for 2 months. There's not much to do. Don't take it out on any guests that just suddenly pop up in a hut outside. So,
I do have to say, I do love Hartnell's delivery of that line.
It's just the way he does it deadpan at the end. He says, "Why don't you speak up? I'm deaf."
Yeah.
You know, well, straight over the captain's head, though. He doesn't accept
pure
it.
sarcasm.
I mean, is there anybody that does stand out for you? I'm gonna ask you this time, Mike.
I think, as said, I've written the name down. I think Robert Beatty as General Cutler, I think, is really good because he kind of has to be the larger than life one, and you have to see this gradual, almost Apocalypse Now Colonel Kurtz like fall as he gets more and more mad. And as we were saying about Tobias Vaughan, it is kind of satisfying when he gets his comeuppance, when he's effectively gone fully mad at the end, and then the Cybermen do get him. So I think he stands out, and it's a really good performance. It's as over the top as it needs to be to sort of command the presence of the Snowcap Base and everything without going over the top. Similarly, I think David Doddermead as Barclay, the kind of the good guy, second in command guy, was effective enough. And other than that, unfortunately, I think beyond that, the guest cast are really cheesy, and there's some really hammy overacting, but it's because they don't get a lot to do anyway. But yeah, I didn't like any of the sort of random background extras in the Snowcap Base, or even the person in the command center. I think was a bit cheesy. But I will give credit to the people in the space shuttle. I thought there was some great, we're definitely seeing things and pressing working buttons acting, because clearly they're not. But I was like, all right, I'm sold on this. That works. And the regulars, I think the regulars all do well. Like you said, Michael Craze has to carry a lot of the episodes because Hartnell's not well. Hartnell's great when he does turn up and gets a couple of iconic speeches. And even Polly actually gets stuff to do and gets to figure some things out. But it's a shame that, sadly for at least half of the story, it does that 60s sexist thing of, I'll go and make you all a coffee then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame because she is an intelligent character, and it's nice when she figures things out as opposed to just like, go and make the coffee, love.
I read the coffee scene as a bit different. I thought it was like she was trying to do something to keep herself in the control room to get close to Barclay instead of getting cast aside.
I see. That would make it a lot more effective, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's still very stereotypical of the time, women in certain roles.
She does work on Barclay quite a lot, and she does get him to agree to try and not fire the missile. So
yeah.
I mean, the rest of the characters are kind of just there. Poor Cybermen actors that had to wear all that get up and do all that and stuff. I mean, yeah, credit goes to them too.
Yeah, I've got to give it obviously a shout out to Roy Skelton for the voices.
Yeah.
Yes, it didn't sound like Zippy for once.
I know. I was impressed at that. Oh, Jeffrey, we're gonna replace your brain.
Let's take it back to Mondas. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, let's get on to the direction now. And is there any outstanding thing with regards to the direction? I found it kind of there was a couple of scenes which, again, were burned into my head. Like I said before, the one where the Cybermen are tromping across the the snow, and the bit at the end of is it the first episode? It's been a few days since I've watched it. My memory's for shit. Where it shows that it pans up from the hand on the victim to the Cyberman's face. I like the little
to part one. Yeah, it's very good.
I like those little touches, but for the most part, it felt. Again, I'm judging it obviously with the animation because we don't have that fourth episode. How dynamic it was compared to the animation, I couldn't obviously say, but for a lot of part, it felt kind of mundane. And again, we're touching on that. It's doing the telling, not showing, kind of thing. So I just wondered what you guys thought of that.
I mean, I think I made the exact same note as you. I just said, it's a shame it tells and doesn't show. Derek Martinez, I think, as the director, did quite well when it comes to filming people that are inside the available set. So he does some really good stuff with depth of field or framing people well, filming over the shoulder so that it's not just static or two heads in one shot kind of thing, and doing extreme close-ups when it gets tense, which again is cliche now, but in the 60s probably quite a novel concept. But yeah, I mean, he's limited by the times, unfortunately. Like you said, that's the thing. But credit where it's due. Like you said, there's some really iconic stuff when it comes to the Cybermen marching, or I mean, even the regeneration. And presumably, that was him that did that, and the way that's framed and everything. Again, it's become iconic now. So credit where that's due. That's that's my thoughts. That's everything I've got on the direction, to be honest.
With regards to that regeneration scene in the animation, I mean, the only thing I've seen other than that, obviously, is bits of the reconstruction and the very little that we have that was obviously showed on Blue Peter. It's in the animation, it cuts to the console, and the next thing he's on the floor. Was that how it was shot? Apparently,
that's what it looks like. Because if you watch, I mean, I always go and watch the available. It's a shame they don't make it. I think they should really add that as an option just to watch the regeneration on its own, because you've got to go to the bloomin' Telesnaps episode to watch it and get to it at the very end. But no, it does. It's like his hand on the console, then he's just collapsed. It's the way they film it. It's weird.
Fair enough. So what about you guys? What did you think to the direction, Lynn?
Having been covering the wreckage that was season 3, and believe you me, there's been, I don't know if Stephen will agree, but we've had quite a lot of discussions on our podcast about season 3, about the director, some of the producers, and let's just say season 3 is upsetting, but it is of its time, and it's when management is changing over. Derek Martinez, I think, did the best that he could, but it just reflects season 3 that it just did what it had to do and no more.
Yeah, think Derek just did the best that he could with what he had. I mean, it was in the script. I mean, there wasn't a lot else that he could do. I mean, the budget was crap. There wasn't a lot of other scenes that you could add that weren't in the script, obviously, about the rest of the world. I mean, it might have been more interesting if it was just the base under siege kind of story with the Cybermen attacking the base rather than the entire planet. You might have got away with that a bit more. But yeah, I mean, there's some iconic moments, when you first see the Cybermen in episode 1. Obviously, them marching through the snow is a very iconic moment. Visually it looks nice. The scenes inside the sets are done as best that they could be, given the time frame it was filmed. The animation was done pretty well. For episode 4, unfortunately, we don't actually have the original, which is unfortunate. But yeah, I mean, he did the best that they could have accepted at that point.
Yeah. Anything to add, Mike?
No, I've said kind of my bit on the direction. I don't really have much else to add. We've said, even about the production stuff, I've kind of said everything that we needed to. It's just, it's like I said, I'm repeating myself, but it is just limitations of the 60s. So naturally, the spaceships look rubbish and the Cybermen are kind of, they're effective enough as a body horror type image for a 60s image. But yes, I mean, Lynn is right. It is just a collection of household appliances sellotaped to somebody. And at times you can see the sellotape. So it doesn't fully work.
I will say I do like the. I mean, they'd been doing it, semi-frequently towards the latter end of Hartnell's tenure, but I do like the little additions they added to the opening and closing credits with the kind of code with the letters.
Yeah, the number
across.
Code things. Yeah, it's a really nifty thing, and I suppose it probably is direction as well. But I like the idea that when the countdown happens for the big cliffhanger, it literally is. It takes up the entire screen. Like it's not just them watching something. It appears on your screen.
It's transposed. It's overlaid, isn't it? On
exactly.
Well, I'm using action in quotation marks, but But yeah, I mean, there are some nice little touches. It's just, it's the budget, as you say, that lets it down. But as was so frequently with Who back then. So, I mean, you've talked about production design. Is there anything, Stephen, Lynn, that you want to point out with regards to the production design, the sets, the costumes, anything like that?
We kind of touched on the Cybermen quite a lot.
I
suppose the base was quite well done. As a studio set, I don't know.
That's about it. That's all I got. So we'll move on to sound design now. And was there anything in particular with regards to the sound design that you found interesting? Again, I'm going to refer back to those credits. I like the little, kind of almost crackling, the little beeps with the code as the credits were going on. Yeah. Other than that, I mean, I do like, slap me about a bit, but I do like the voices for the Cybermen. So,
thank you. We think they're great too.
You see, what I find most impressive, Mike, is that we're all the way through this recording so far, and not once have you moved your jaw. Your mouth's been open this entire time as you've been talking.
That's just how I talk.
Yeah.
If I close my jaw, it's just going to be open again.
So anything on the again? I'll throw it open to anyone in the sound design, music, that kind of thing that you find particularly intriguing or that caught your notice.
I literally forgot this section completely.
That'll be a no from Mike.
Clearly, it was very effective for me. I'm sure it was probably good. I completely forgot we were supposed to look at that. So, oh well.
You've got a few incidentals, when they're kind of coming out of the TARDIS just before it materializes as well. And it's kind of like it's odd little pieces of music that hint at humor, but it's not quite there. It's just kind of it kind of underlines everything. But apart from that, the music doesn't really stand out for me for this, unfortunately. There's no Murray Gold with this.
You know, you watch the first Dalek story and there's fantastic music, and there's nothing that really stands out to me.
Yeah.
No. So, I mean, is there anything that we've not touched upon with regards to discussing the episode itself that anybody wants to bring up before we move on?
I find it quite funny when the Cyberman comes into that place in Geneva, and he just says, "Right, I'm in command now," and it's just like the guy's still on the phone.
Oh no! Everybody stand down. There's one of them. We can't possibly take on their numbers.
It's like, how did he get through everyone? It was not like a massive commotion or anything. It was just, he just walked through the door.
So, yeah, that's what we thought. We've looked at the analysis. So what we're going to do now, we're going to go to the open Subwave network section and find out what the audience had to say on this.
I'm transferring the Subwave network.
As usual, we asked on our social media and to see what the audience thought of this particular story, and we got a couple of interesting responses. First one we got from frequent, well, not so frequent as much, but friend to the podcast, Will Templar. He says, "This is very good, and I still love these Cybermen. The voices are comical, sure, but that's only a positive in my book, at least for a product of its time. I'd quite literally pay an arm and a leg for that final part to exist with real footage. Would you, Will? Would you? Even animated, I could feel Hartnell's presence, and I feel as though it is one of his very best performances, and we don't get to see it. No, Hartnell episode 3 was a shame and wasn't originally planned. That being said, that is still a negative, and also them not exploring Mondas in any more depth was kind of lackluster. The whole premise of it, however, was awesome, and he gives it 4 out of 5. Over on Cyberman Supremacy, on, I presume, is this Facebook, Mike?
It's Facebook. Yeah, I think most of what we got was from the Cybermen Supremacy Facebook group. So
fair enough. Yeah, first one up is Finbar Phelan. That's a fantastic name. He says, I would give it a 5, ahead of its time for the era. Reg Whitehead made a great Cyberman, as did Pat Gorman. And Tom Jordan agrees. He says it's a 5 out of 5, a stone cold classic in every sense of the word. Adrian Berry says it's a great introduction, and he has a picture of the Mondasian Cybermen. Which, it's...
I will put that up because I've got it saved, so I'll put that up on the edit because, apparently it's from an exhibition somewhere. It's the actual, one of the genuine suits that they used or costumes.
All right.
Really cool.
Nice one. Robert Zafares, I hope I pronounced that correctly. He gives that a 5 also. And another fantastic name here, Space Hippie Face. He says, I'll give it a solid 4. Little bit slow at times, but absolutely essential and probably one of the most terrifying and unsettling versions of the Cybermen. And,
that was from Blue Sky, wasn't it? Space Hippie Face?
It was, yeah. And back on Cyberman Supremacy on Facebook, Don Jeffrey Krauskopf says it's a 4.5 out of 5. Hartnell's absence through parts of the story hurt it, but it's a stronger story for Ben and Polly, and the Cybermen are fantastic. Claustrophobic, well acted, and extremely effective. Best of all, it foreshadows the formula of the best Troughton era stories. So it's more than just a regeneration tale, it's truly a transitional piece. And Finbar Phelan again, he says the prototype cyber design was brilliant for its time. However, the design changes for the moon-based story was a welcome improvement, especially in doing away with their original voices. And that's what we've got here on the audience feedback. So thank you for that. So it's taking us toward the finish line for this episode. So first of all, before we get to the conclusions, though, we're going to do the regular thing here and go for favorite character, moment, and line. And I'm going to come to you first on this one. Lynn, do you have a favorite character, favorite moment or scene, and a favorite line from the story?
I I think I'm going to go with William Hartnell when he's talking back to the captain. I don't like your tone, sir. I don't like your face or your hair.
Is that your line, yeah?
Yeah, is that your line or your scene?
Sass you got given, Sass. It's either that or the deaf comment. So yeah.
That is a good one. Do you have a favourite scene or moment?
Honestly, I like the regeneration when they've done it in the cartoon because, like I say, we've got some of the box sets, and yeah. Do I have a favourite character? Not particularly. I mean, the only ones that technically really stand out for me in this are probably Ben and Polly, because Ben and Polly have to carry this a lot.
Yeah.
Because the lines were split. So, yeah, I'd have to say 2 companions because, like I say, when the Doctor collapses in episode 3, you don't actually see his face, as someone rightly pointed out to me, and I never even thought of it that way.
Oh, he's not there, yeah.
Yeah, he's not there because normally an actor would fall down and you'd see their face, but because you only see his back, you presume it's William Hartnell when in fact it's a stand-in. So yeah, I'll say Ben and Polly because they had to take extra lines and they had to develop the story a little bit more to make sure that everyone had a fair distribution.
Cool. What about you, Stephen? You got favourite character, line, and moment?
Characters. Favorite character. I'd have to go with Ben and Polly as well because, literally, like Lynn said, they do carry the story majority of the time when the Doctor's not there. Favourite line? It's got to be when the Doctor's a bit nippy with the General right in episode 1 when he's being sassy. I do like him when he's like that because it just reminds me of a nice grandfather that's a bit doesn't like authority very much, and he's just like, no, who are you? Get lost. Favourite scene has to be when the Cybermen are walking through the snow. Very iconic.
Yeah, definitely. Mike?
But mine are going to be very similar, actually. So, under favourite character, I've genuinely written Ben and Polly carry the story, but Polly's a victim of the era's sexism too much, unfortunately. So, Ben, I would have to say, emerges as the MVP for me. My favourite moment would obviously be the regeneration, but I thought that would be too obvious. So, I put second choice is the scene where the Cybermen first arrive at the base, which everyone said. And my favourite line, I actually really like the line, love, pride, hate, fear. Have you no emotions, sir? Not have you no bitches, which is now probably the version I'll only ever see.
Yep. You're welcome. Yeah, for character, I've also put Ben. I think I think Michael Craig's got really kind of shafted to some extent during the course of the show, and I think he got a real chance to shine in this one. It showed that he's not just reactive, but he's actually quite a smart companion when it comes down to it.
Yeah, thanks for that, DK. I appreciate it.
You're all right, mate. Moment. I've got Cybermen walking across the snow. It could be osmosis to some extent because I've seen it so often over the years, but it is a very powerful image. And for line, which I'm surprised nobody else has said, I've got. What did you say, my boy? It's all over. That's what you said, but it isn't at all. It's far from being all over. I kind of like that.
I used to love that, but now if you watch Twice Upon a Time, that line makes absolutely no sense. It's far from being all over, but it is because I'm not going to regenerate and I'm going to die. Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Shit.
So, we've got all similar kind of vibes there. It's clear this one has got some memorable moments, but how much does the story stand out for us personally? Well, we'll find out as we come to our final roundup and score. So again, I'm going to come to you first on this one, Stephen. What are your final thoughts and a score out of 5 for the 10th planet?
it's hard for the production team to come up with a great new villain to kind of go against the Daleks, because the Daleks were so massive and they tried for 3 years. Get Kid Peddler in to come in and help them like a scientific advisor, and he does a great job. We had the war machines, which was a bit of a clanger, but we get straight in there with the Cybermen, and does a great job creating them along with Jerry Davis. The script was all right. Could have been a lot better if we had more scenes out with the base. We could see what was going on around the world. So I'd maybe have thought it might have been better just to have a base under siege with just the Cybermen attacking the base, rather than it being a whole worldwide sort of thing. That might have helped. But yeah, it's overall a good story. William Hartnell's on his way out. So, like I said, he's benefited from his time off, so that gives him some time to kind of process the script and get ready for it. Ben and Polly have stuff to do. Apart from the General and Barclay, no one else really matters, to be honest, that much. It's just kind of people in the story. Cybermen have done really well for the time that they were made. Looking back on it now, you can kind of see it's kind of just appliances stuck to people in suits. Probably back in the 60s when they seen it, I thought it was pretty state of the art. So I've got to give them credit for that, the inventiveness at the time. It kind of comes together with the regeneration, which is the first regeneration that we have, which is never really called a regeneration at this point. But yeah, it's kind of sees William Hartnell out. End of that era. We're kind of going into now a new phase of we're not quite sure whether the show will continue with the new Doctor, if people will accept the second Doctor. So it's kind of they're walking off a cliff at this point, the production team, and they weren't quite sure whether it will continue. But they kind of had to because ratings were kind of collapsing. So you got to give them credit for just going with that bold decision and just carrying it on and not just recasting it with someone who looks like William Hartnell at that point. So for me, I'd give it a solid 4 out of 5.
Okay. Lynn?
I have a soft spot for this, I'm afraid. Yes, it's rather bland in places. Yes, he could have done things better. Yes, it looked as though it was a fix-it job with duct tape and sticking things to people for the Cybermen, but thing is, it was William Hartnell's last part and shot as a Doctor, and just for that alone, it's a 4 out of 5.
What was that for, you say?
4. Yeah, 4.
All right. Do you want to go first, Mike, or do you want me to do it, or what?
It's up to you. What do you prefer your hosting?
I'll get mine out of the way. We might as well end up on a high note. It's not that I'm giving it away. Yeah, it's a strange one, this. For a story that's renowned for its first, which makes it so important in the mythology of the show, it all feels a little mediocre to me. Much of the action, as it were, takes place off screen, with the result being much of this a case of tell and not showing, with our characters limited to, even for early Who, to just one set. I get that I'm supposed to feel tension at the unfolding plot, but it never grabs me, as I'm sure it's meant to. And while there are some good performances, notably from Michael Craze, it all feels a little lackluster to me, with the only things keeping me hooked being the regeneration and the Cybermen, who I feel we don't get enough of. This iteration, while nowhere near as sophisticated as later versions, for my mind are the most horrific, and it's easy to see why they were brought back time and again over the following years. These antagonists captured the imagination, and they still give me the chills to this day, especially in this story. So, for them and the plot device introduced here that allowed the show to keep on going long past any other show, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5.
Oof. Fair enough. Right.
Yeah. Just
I'm
put
sorry,
all
I'm just
your hate
working.
mail onto our socials, everyone.
I will, don't worry. Okay, I'll
Not
finish
you,
this
you
off with
bastard. I get that from you over phone.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'll finish this off and jump in with my essay as per usual then. I just said a vital story in the history of the series and an absolute must-see, especially for those interested in the show's evolution, the genesis of key ideas, or broader historical context. I can understand how it might be off-putting to a modern audience at first. The pace is leisurely, to put it kindly. The technical limitations unavoidable and obvious, and it's clear that Hartnell was already limited in what he could do even before his complete disappearance from episode 3, something that does sadly hurt the narrative. That said, Annika Wills and Michael Chris do a commendable job stepping up to carry the show. The introduction of the Cybermen is keenly felt and genuinely menacing, and I have a real fondness for this primitive design. They possess a special, nostalgic charm. Cutler is a strong presence, building gradually and effectively, and the story itself accelerates as it goes, increasing the threat and layering in new elements, such as the anti-nuclear weapon metaphor, the General's personal stake, and the looming menace of Mondas and the Cybermen, even if those pesky production limitations inevitably temper the latter. The acceleration hits an entirely new gear in episode 4, which makes the loss of that episode all the more disappointing. While the animation does help bring a sense of dynamism, the episode itself is a tightly packed, pacey, space under siege story, and of course, those iconic final moments are forever ingrained in my brain. It remains a beautifully handled piece of geek history, and thank God for Blue Peter preserving at least the important regeneration. There's a great deal to admire here, a solid sci-fi story, the presaging of a format that would serve the show well, and the undeniable brilliance of both the Cybermen and the concept of regeneration. It may be slow to start and not the most dynamic tale the series ever produced, but it's unquestionably one of the most important. Your mileage may vary, but for me, it gets a 4.5 out of 5. I was hovering around a 4, but it gets the extra half point for episode 4 and for the regeneration. So that's what I went with.
Fair enough. So yeah,
I have the score if you need it, because I've been doing it.
yeah.
As we
No,
go.
I've already got it. So I'll,
Okay,
you know, and then you can go. No, that's not what I got. Yeah. When combined, it gives the 10th planet a combined hit or miss score of 3.8.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, how do you guys feel about that? I think it's fair. I mean, it's pretty close to 4, and Mike balances mine out, so it's very average. What do you think?
It's a little bit lower than I expected, to be honest. I thought it had a bit of a stronger reputation, but I think given the two of us said 4 and it's close to 4, it can't be too bad.
Yeah.
Could be
It's
worse.
because of the blandness. That's what part of the problem is.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
definitely. So yeah, interesting. So what do you out there think? Do you have any opinions on this one? If you haven't let us know so far, please do on our socials. We're always listening. In the meantime, that's pretty much it for us here. All that's left for me to do is thank our guests today. So Lynn, Stephen, thank you for joining us today.
Glad to be on board.
It's good to be on.
Nice one. Have you had a good time? Hope for coming back at some point.
Oh yeah, I might do a tomb or two.
Because they better be, because they're both down for several episodes.
All right, fair enough.
Now. You'll never get
See, this is why you need to share information with me, Mike.
you'd never get rid of Lynn now. She's on you like a rash. She'll be here forever.
Well, you said two of the Cybermen. I went, ooh, Troughton.
Now that is a good Cyberman story, I tell you.
Yeah. That's something you can really get your teeth into. There's some real baddies in there. So, yeah. Looking forward to that.
Nice one. Now, we normally allow our guests to drop some promotion of social media and that kind of thing if they wish. Do you have anything that you want to plug? Anything that's up and coming? You know, give us your address to your podcast or your socials where the listeners can find you.
Well, you can find us on Thistle Podcasts on Facebook and Twitter. That's where we share most of our podcasts. Or you can find Adventures in Time and Space on Facebook and X. We're just coming back to do more episodes for season 3 of Classic Who. We're going to start with we're not starting quite back with season 3, to be honest. We're starting with Downtime, which is the sort of the fan-made movie from 1995.
First appearance
Yep.
of Kate Lethbridge-Stewart.
Yep, indeedy. Lynn found it on YouTube and it's on Amazon Prime, I still think, at the minute. So we're just going to check that out. And then we're going on to The Massacre with season 3 with William Hartnell. And then we're doing series 3 as well with David Tennant. So we're going to go and come back with The Lazarus Experiment and work our way through those. And then we've got some special episodes towards the end of which was the summer.
Keep listening because I'm going to be on a few of those episodes.
You're going to be coming back. Yes, we've got Michael back for a couple as well.
Yeah, we're doing Scratch Man.
We're doing
Scratchy
Man as well, yeah.
And Time Lash.
Oh, jeez.
I'm not on that one.
And Sirens of Time.
Oh, we're doing Sirens of Time, yes. There's a massive list of stuff we need to get through. Out now at the minute, we've got the Ashes to Ashes reviews for Gene Reviews, which is our Life on Mars and Ashes to Ashes podcast. The first episode of a review of episode 1 of series 1 of Ashes to Ashes has just came out just on Tuesday just past. So they'll be released every week until we stop. until
the series finishes, because they're never going to bring out that flipping Lazarus third series that they keep promising us.
Oh, well, I hope they do it, but if they're going to do it, I hope it's going to be good.
Yeah, I love that.
I don't want them to come in and just do it and then it's going to be crap.
I loved Life on Mars, but I don't know what was happening in my life at the time, but I never got a chance to even watch Ashes to Ashes.
Oh, I loved it, but I was alive in the 80s, so I mean, I liked Life on Mars, but I didn't.
I wasn't.
I didn't have the frame of reference. So.
I was there.
I was just resurrected at the end.
We died with Doctor Who.
Far from being all over from being TK.
Change, it seems, my dear.
But
the moment was prepared for.
I'll definitely check out Ashes to Ashes if I was you. It's on BBC iPlayer.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I might give that a go because I don't think I've got anything to watch tonight. So yeah. So we'll drop the links in the description of this episode. So if anybody wants to check those out, please do so. So some good stuff there. I'm gonna be checking it out, to be fair. So yeah, once again, I'd also like to thank my co-host, Mr. Wilson. Pleasure as always, fella.
Hello. Oh, thank you. And it was great talking about them. And looking forward to talking more Cybermen as the weeks go by.
Nice one. Well, I'm assuming the regular listeners know we'll be back at some point. So out there,
Next
please
week.
like and subscribe. Is there anything in particular you want to draw attention to while I'll be here? What's coming up next?
Well, the very next episode, we're trying to alternate between Classic and New Who. So the next one that will be out will be in a week's time, and that will be Rise of the Cybermen and the Age of Steel. And then following that, we're back to Classics again with Tomb of the Cybermen and rejoined by Lynn for that one. So, yeah, stay tuned. We're recording in a different order in case anybody's confused that's on the episodes, but we were releasing them in that order anyway.
Right. And what about the film? Anything? What's up and coming on the film channels?
Just the same. I mean, always stay tuned to Silver Screen Podcast for DK's Cult Classics, which used to be once a month and it's twice a month for a little while at the moment, and they're doing really good stuff.
You lucky people.
Without spoiling anything, there's some really fantastic cult films coming up. Always, you will get my cinema classics as well. Sunset Boulevard aired in January. By now, we may have February's out, which will be Fiddler on the Roof, hopefully, if we've had a chance to record it, because it didn't go as planned.
No, it didn't.
No. And in March, I believe the classics episode that we're doing will be Forbidden Planet. So again, stay tuned for all of that. And an extra little surprise coming up, a slight horror movie tinged surprise coming up at the end of February on Silver Screen as well.
Oh, nice. Okay, then. Well, once again, thanks. And a big thank you to you out there for listening in. I hope you've enjoyed this one and found the conversation stimulating. It's been a pleasure to have you here. We'll be back soon with another look at an episode of Who. So if you had fun here, please come on back by hitting that subscribe button. As Mike said, in the meantime, you can catch him and myself over on our sister podcast, Mike's Cinema Classics, my own Cult Classic channel, and Silver Screen Regular Flavor, where we take a look at various movies with a selection of guests. hopefully we'll see you next time. Until then, I'm off to get changed as this body's wearing a bit thin. So, yeah, good night.
You've been listening to the Hit or Miss Doctor Who podcast, part of the Hit or Miss Who Trek channel. Hit or Miss Doctor Who is hosted by Mike Wilson and DK. Behind the scenes and additional material by DK, scripted, produced, and edited by Mike Wilson. Adapted from an original podcast created by Will Templar. Follow us on YouTube, your podcatcher of choice, and our social media. Links to all of these can be found by clicking on the link tree in the episode descriptions. This podcast is a Media Matters original production. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this podcast through all of time and space. We'll be back for another thrilling TARDIS trip soon, but for now, Doctor, I let you go.